Howdy, howdy, howdy. Dog. New Ahsoka album. I've been bumping it all damned day. It's too good. It is very, very, very nice. I like it a lot. So, what the plan is today... Howdy gamers. I'm full foreskin mode right now. It's nice. I think what the plan is for tonight is the Pink Bike posted a bunch of reviews for bikes that I want to look at. So that's why it's review night, because we're going to be reviewing the reviews. Right? Very smart idea. Let me pull them up here. Here we go. Big picture shit. So, I've already watched a couple, mainly just of the ones that I like the best. That I actually wanted to look at. Oh, they just did the SX? That's fucking lame. But I really wanted to watch this one because this is one of the bikes that I'm actually looking at to buy in the future, hopefully. As you can see, I've been very much into this already. Because, here's my deal, their Geo is just about perfect for me. So, 541. I'm putting myself between 530 and 545 as like my ideal. So that's like literally perfect. 60-degree head tube angle, 77.5 C2 angle is amazing. Nice long wheelbase. Just this whole bike is like perfect. Plus 180 on the front, 165 in the back is really good. With their like the Ibis, whatever it's called. I forget what it's called. Their suspension system. Fuck, I forget what it's called. It's really good though, and you basically just get a little bit of extra forgiveness for that 165, so it feels like you have a little bit extra travel in the back, which is nice. So it's basically a 170, 180. But the only thing is, it's only in a mullet, which I'm not huge on. So that is one thing. But other than that, fucking awesome bicycle that I would like to purchase with money one day. It would be nice. Let's watch this. Let's watch this shit. Then we can watch the other ones too while we're at it.
I clipped in by mistake.
Ooh, 38. Mountain biking is excellent.
It is. With some Icon Punch.
Ibis were in their heyday with the original 26-inch Mojo, as well as the subsequent HD, and despite having a consistent presence in the EWS, they might not have been the first brand you'd think of when considering a new racy enduro bike. But could that be about to change? The HD6 takes its place as Ibis's longest travel bike, with 160mm of travel at the rear delivered via a DW Link suspension layout.
That's what it's called, DW
to a Merhusive 180mm fork.
When it first launched, the biggest talking point about the HD6 was its straight top tube. I think they did a good job making it look a little bit less swoopy and a little bit more modern than some of their previous offerings.
It's really nice looking.
Yeah, I think it's hard to disagree with the looks of the Ibis. Now they've gone with those straighter tubes, more modern geometry numbers.
Yeah, exactly. There's also 5 sizes, which should make it a little bit easier for riders to find the bike that fits them appropriately.
So it's a mixed wheel platform with big travel, and it does without that divisive swooping top tube. The HD6 represents some of the best of modern enduro. Plus, we all considered it to be one of the better looking bikes on test, which is a markedly different assessment to how we felt about previous generations.
The HD6 is one of the lightest bikes we have on test, and while weight isn't everything, it certainly helps, especially considering that compared to the heaviest bike, the Ibis is 7 pounds lighter.
Yeah, that's impressive. But there was one attribute that we did notice that stood out. The 76.5 degree seat tube angle is a little slacker than most, although it did work with some of the dimensions around the rest of the bike.
As far as the suspension performance goes when climbing, it's very impressive. This is a bike with 165 millimeters of rear travel, but it's got that nice supple feel off the top without being too wallowy. If you stand up and really sprint on it, it still remains fairly supportive. So it kind of has a good blend of what you'd consider maybe trail bike attributes, but with more travel that you would hope to see on an enduro race bike.
Simply put, this bike is light, fast and effective, and is a long travel bike for those that want the efficiency and tautness of something with a little less travel. But what's it like on the descents? And did this welterweight have us saying, I biss off more than I could chew, I'll get my coat. Roll the footage.
Now on paper, the HD6 is one of the most mild-mannered looking bikes that we had in our test. We kept calling it the palate cleanser because it was one of the easiest bikes to just hop on and ride. It felt normal. There were no outliers or extreme numbers.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those ones you can kind of hop on and not have to adjust your riding style. One thing that I did notice though, we mentioned before, the bike's designed around a 180 millimeter fork in a really steep terrain. As you're going through that travel, it can make the bike feel a little bit steeper, and that's partially because Ibis decided to use a very short head tube. They didn't want the stack height of the bike to be too high, which kind of makes sense, but I do wish they pushed it maybe a little bit further.
So we talked about the geometry being more modern and up to scratch. It is a very easy bike to ride, and in the right hands, it can be pushed harder. So it's not a bike that's too stiff or too wallowy or anything. It's going to be a good race bike, I think.
Yeah, exactly. It strikes a nice middle ground. It's worth mentioning though that the chainstay length remains the same throughout all the sizes. I think that does help with the size large we're on. Those mixed wheels, relatively short back end, kind of gives it that nice playful feel.
That's a point off.
But as you go up to the larger sizes, you may encounter a little bit of an imbalance.
The bike is definitely like alive and quick in the corners, easy to pick up and get over stuff.
But some riders that are looking for that kind of extra long, extra slack, super burly thing, they're not going to find it here. But I think that the well-roundedness is kind of almost a pro and a con.
Gentle, considerate, and not brutish by its nature, all while being very fast. But that's enough about Kazuma himself, and let's get back to the Ibis. Many brands say that they have race teams to develop their bike, and after nearly a decade on the circuit, maybe this new HD6 is so good that the race team felt, hey, they've done their job, and that's why they folded the team. Either way, the Ibis really is a refreshing take, without the compromise or blind spots in design that we've seen in some of the other bikes. That said, it could definitely be more aggressive, and that trail bikey feel is still something you'll be aware of at times on the descents as well as the climbs.
Ibis did a good job sorting out the little details on the HD6's frame. It's got internal cable routing that doesn't rattle. It's good chain slap protection. There's room for a water bottle. It's a little bit harder to reach since it's kind of tucked a little bit lower in the frame, but it's there.
So one thing that does come with the Ibis is those round carbon tubes, and that doesn't leave any space for an internal storage box. And that's sort of the more trendy thing to do with these style bikes. And it's not a total deal breaker. There are mounts under the top tube for a pump or a tube, whatever.
Another nice frame feature is the fact that the HD6 is coil shock compatible, and Ibis stressed that it's compatible with all coil shocks. So there's no limitations. Kind of revised the shock mount, so it shouldn't put any undue stress on a coil shock. We're totally happy with the way they perform with the air shock, but it's always nice to have more options.
A great bike then, even if, like so many of the other bikes on the test, it comes with a dropper that is simply too short. But that's probably more of a SRAM problem than an Ibis one specifically. However, for over $11,000, yes, you heard me right, $11,000, it's more than slightly disheartening that you'd want to buy a new dropper immediately. So who's this bike for?
Now, this isn't the wildest bike in terms of geometry, but I think an expert level enduro racer could probably take this bike to some, high speeds, ride it flat out.
Yeah, definitely has that race bike feel, but for the rider that really wants that kind of a bike that's been pushed to the limits with a super slack head angle and it's super long, everything, it doesn't have that, which isn't the end of the world, but I do think there's room for a few little tweaks. Like I mentioned, you can put in an angle set, slacken out just that little bit to kind of improve its capabilities in the really steep stuff, but overall, definitely can be raced right out of the box.
The bike then for the person who wants the security of extra travel without some of the inherent drawbacks. What are the bike's pros and cons?
I'd say the HD6's greatest strength is its versatility. It's a bike we've mentioned a few times before. It almost feels like a longer travel trail bike, but you can definitely race it. It has big fork up front, plenty of travel, but you're not going to feel like you brought the wrong bike if you go somewhere with a little bit mellower terrain.
Yeah, and that being said about the big travel fork, there is a little bit of an imbalance. You have a 180 fork, that's a lot of sag up front. That's only matched with 165 out back. that in combination with the 435mm chainstays across all sizes,
that's
you know,
really
can
short.
leave some imbalance depending on who the rider is and how they set up their
Especially
bike.
in the super
The
long
Ibis then
size. I
seems
didn't
like a
catch that
genuine
when I was
step
looking at the
forward
geo
from
chart.
its previous version, while still incorporating
like
many of
kind
the
of a deal
elements that
breaker,
people
not
have
gonna
come to
lie.
know and love about the
That
brand.
sucks.
Light, carbon, and the ever-present DW Link will surely prove a hit with Ibis
It's pretty
diehards,
industry
and
standard
their
to
sophisticated,
do,
clean looks and do-it-all nature
size-specific
will
chainstays.
undoubtedly win over the hearts and minds of those who may well have viewed Ibis as something that wasn't quite for them. Either way, the HD6 is a really solid bike, offering
really
a great
fun.
platform, suspension feel, and an excellent blend of stiffness and comfort, all while being
So-
arguably the most well-rounded bike on test.
I feel like
That said,
if you have the
it
money
isn't for
for it,
people who want something completely radical, in terms of geometry at least.
I feel like me, if I have the money for it, I am going to use this as just purely a park bike. I don't think I'd want it to be anything. I don't think I'd race on it. I don't think it's. I don't know. That's kind of tough, because since the chainstays are so short and the reach gets so long, it'll kind of force you into a super forward position all the time. It'll force you to have to maintain that super forward position instead of like the Forbidden Dreadnought or the Narco Range, where it just naturally puts you into that little more forward position by extending the chainstays. You kind of have to keep yourself forward because the chainstays are so much shorter, like in relation to the reach, I guess. That's tough. That's not great. Plus a smaller rear wheel. It's fucked up. I don't know if I like that.
The Save the Tax event.
That's knocked that bike down a few points for me, honestly.
That damper inside the frame is what makes this system unbelievably simple.
Okay, nerd. I wanna watch the video over.
Ooh, 38.
Mountain biking is
For a
excellent.
long time, because I've always looked insanely ugly for how expensive they are. I feel like
Nikolai, who have never exactly had a reputation as dull conformists, might have outdone themselves with their LAL drivetrain endeavour. What catches your eye about this bike isn't so much what is on the frame, but rather what isn't.
The Nikolai Nucleon is a high pivot bike designed around the LAL drivetrain. The bike is essentially a showcase for that drivetrain, as well as a 160, 170 millimeter all-mountain sled.
And the fact that it has that LAL drivetrain isn't exactly out of the ordinary. The previous version of this bike had a roll-off internal geared hub and 14-speed internal hub, so they're used to doing things out of the ordinary.
Thanks to that LAL drivetrain, there's essentially no derailleur outboard of the frame, so it's safe from damage. And thanks to the high pivot design of the bike, there's a lot of bump eating performance, as well as a very quiet ride.
really cool
So,
looking.
due to the rules of the internet, if you've ever commented saying you'd buy a decent alternative to the standard drivetrain, you are now legally obliged to do so. And at £39.8 with our control tyres, the Nucleon is by far the heaviest bike on test, so you'd at least be getting
that
a lot of
caliper
bike for
being
your
inside
money.
looks really
But
nice, and
what's
again,
it like to
doing
climb?
to protect it.
Nucleon's seated
Holy
position is
shit,
super
that's gotta be a
comfortable
pain in
and
the
feels quite
ass to do
balanced,
any
thanks in
kind of
part to the
servicing or
steep seat
tuning.
angle and the very long wheelbase.
The bike has a fairly high level of anti-squat, but there is still a decent amount of suspension movement when you're standing up out of the saddle. Seated is pretty calm, but when you do stand up and kind of put the power down, you do get a decent amount of rear end movement.
The suspension does offer a ton of grip under power, and when you're kind of pointed in a straight line motoring over bumps, the Nucleon handles really well. Additionally, the high pivot is pretty quiet as far as they go. We didn't really notice a ton of draggy noise while pedaling.
Whoa,
And also
those
that
are
unique
pretty.
drivetrain, it doesn't actually
shit, that's
offer
really
shifting
nice.
performance that's that much better than currently
Those are hot.
current
I
existing
forgot how
drivetrains
hot
on the
these
market.
bikes are.
Though most of the geometry is quite extreme, the
UDH
angles on this bike are that bit more reasonable. The star of the show here is the high pivot suspension performance with tons of grip and bump eating rearward travel. This bike takes the high pivot decoupling sensation to a whole new height. And without even a mech so much as pulling on your chain, it offers fantastic small bump compliance.
Just because a bike has a high pivot suspension design doesn't mean that they all feel the same. With the Nikolai, it's ultra plush and super smooth tracking on the downhills. This is definitely the true plow bike. If you just want to see rocks and go right through them without turning, this is the bike.
That sounds nice.
Yeah, all that motoring over bumps and soaking up the terrain kind of has a cost though. This bike is a little more difficult to get off the ground, especially when you're trying to pop between smaller trail features.
That's fine.
As far as the geometry, it's a fairly large reach for a size large. It's like 490 millimeters on the further end of the spectrum compared to other bikes, but it doesn't feel that big, which is kind of nice because you do have a lot of movement happening underneath you. The actual dimensions of the bike is still fairly manageable.
At slower speeds and through kind of pumpy terrain, it can be a little difficult to generate speed. I found it was like really gangly feeling and kind of spread out a bit.
Yeah, definitely not the bike for your flat pedal fest. One additional benefit while descending is how quiet this bike is. One we had has an Onyx hub, which is silent in operation, and then the rest of the bike as well, just basically dead silent, just sucking up all of the obstacles.
Worth noting is that a few of us had heel clearance issues. I myself didn't, but Kaz did, and part of that is because it has a super boost rear end, and in order to package the wall drivetrain, there's a lot of extra metal back there.
Gone is the derailleur, and instead that lower jockey wheel has been moved to a frame-mounted tension damper that's housed out of sight. So while in some ways it could be said to offer a new avenue of simplicity, it could also be said to offer another layer of complication, especially when you consider that the drivetrain requires a host of proprietary parts. There are several 3D printed cable guides adhered to the frame, and sadly a few of them even came off during testing. The straight cup headset does allow for quite a bit of aftermarket adjustment though, should you want to do so.
Overall, the Nucleon is a good application of a really novel drivetrain. Again, the LOL really benefits people who want something that's going to be out of the way and preventing damage to the derailleur itself.
That's within
reason. We do need to mention that there's a component of the LOL drivetrain that's not immediately visible. It actually has a damper hidden inside the down tube, and that helps deal with the chain slack that occurs when you switch gears. So even though it might look fairly complicated at first, it's even a little more complicated when you really look into what's required for this drivetrain to work.
To only consider this bike as merely an object to hang a novel drivetrain off would be deeply unfair. It has some real strengths. But who would be most suited to this bike? Save for people who are big fans of the Zoidberg-inspired saddles.
The ideal candidate for the Nikolai is someone that's not afraid of trying something new. It does have a drivetrain system that you're unlikely to see elsewhere out on the trail. It's also for someone that prefers steeper, rougher terrain and isn't in a hurry to get to the top.
The downside to that unique and novel drivetrain is the accessibility to aftermarket parts. It's going to be kind of hard to find some stuff for this bike generally, especially when you're fixing parts in the LOL drivetrain. Hopefully they won't get damaged, but if that should occur, it might be a little more tricky to get the parts you need. Additionally, I don't think this is the bike for people who want like a very responsive ride either up or down the hill. It's more of a plow in both directions.
Exactly. If you got rough terrain and you want ultra smooth,
it breaks.
Just bump smoothing. It's hard to put into words how good this bike does at just erasing features in the terrain. If that's your purpose and that's what you want to do, this bike definitely fits the bill.
What are its strengths and weaknesses? And is there such a thing as too much grip?
The Nucleon's ability to blast through rough terrain is truly impressive. The high pivot design offers a super smooth bump eating feel that is nearly silent while operating.
As for the cons of the Nikolai, the biggest one's going to be the weight, as well as the fact that it's not the best bike if you want to pump through more moderate or rolling terrain. It's not that responsive, and there could potentially be some more complications when it comes to sourcing replacement parts.
So while we're not necessarily clamoring to ride the Nikolai, we were impressed with some aspects of both its drivetrain and suspension. On a trail that suits it, it is a genuinely exceptional bike. However, its remit is simply too narrow for some. A remit that is further narrowed by its proprietary kit and huge $11,000 price tag.
Yeah, it's
kind of bump sucking ability doesn't translate as well when you get on flatter or more rolling terrain.
Such a cool ass looking bicycle. I just want to see a geometry chart, please. Oh, tech sheet, here we go. There we go. This is what I wanted. 2XL. Reach. 550. Holy fuck. I'd actually be on an extra large. Yeah, that's too big. I'd actually be on an extra large. That's so tight. God, this is such a cool ass bike. 79-degree seat tubes, 64-degree head tube. That grows, obviously. I want to know what the, like... Ah, yes. Oh, I love this. They just give you everything. So it's not entirely rearward, which is good. How much is it rearward, though? 8 rearward, about 10.5. Yeah, about 10.5 peak. Huh. Very cool. That's a lot of rearward movement. Just grow the chainstay by 10.5 mil. Oh, it's not a whole lot compared to like a Forbidden though. I'm being blinded. Ah, white light. Ah. This is a good bike, and I want one now. Yeah, that's like the same reach as my bike now in an XL, and this bike in an XL is like, or my bike in an XL was like the holy shit. This is like the longest bike we've ever tested. Type beat. Now look at it. Everyone's catching up. It's so nice. So good to see. We love that shit. We love that shit. Yeah, I'm on the bottom spectrum of this. Oh, that's so sick. God, I wish there were not $40 billion. This I watched already. I don't want to watch it again because it's the ugliest bike I've ever seen on Earth. But I do want to watch this because I used to think these were really, really hot. And now, man, that's an ugly looking bicycle. It's not nice.
That was sick.
But they're DH bikes. They're all DH bikes and cross country bikes. Are fucking gorgeous.
The Uno Burn is a brand new enduro bike from Cesar Rojo's boutique brand, easily identified by their unique aesthetic. The bike, which sports mixed wheels and 160 millimeters of rear wheel travel, also has looks that are distinctive. With the Spanish brand delivering mountain biking's very own version of the Habsburg jaw, they've given the Burn a seat tube that towers over the rest of the bike. This bike is obviously more than its seat tube, but it is a smoking gun to illustrate the brand's determination to make something that was very different and thoroughly Uno.
This bike looks drastically different to any of the others. That high stack, flat one-piece bar, really slender top tube, and of course that very, very, very long seat tube. Why have they done this?
One of the reasons is that Uno wanted to incorporate their dual co-rotating link suspension design. So kind of the bike is built around that. It's designed to run between 35 to 40% sag, which is quite a lot.
Biggest red flag. Unless this is, wait.
That is quite a lot. So these ultra progressive bikes, in terms of their suspension feel, can be really good because they're easy to get into their travel and can be really smooth off the top.
I hate it.
What are some of the drawbacks of an ultra progressive suspension system?
So with a design like this that's very progressive, you do get that initial nice sensitivity. It can really help with the small bumps, but then deeper on, you can sometimes encounter what we call a wall support, and that can make it difficult to use full travel.
Well, hold on. We're going to do some investigating. From the Burn. Feel it. So, I want to know if this strut thing is in the way of the water bottle. Oh, that's a nice color, actually. That looks good. I don't like red, but that looks good. Oh, you can't see. Oh, you can. That's. Oh, it is on both sides. Oh, so it's just weird and in the way on both sides. Oh, that's fucking annoying. Man. Yeah, I want to see how it rides. Because everything except for this dumbass top tube looks really, really nice. Or C-tube. What else do they have, though? What's this? E-bike? That looks better. With everything just being scaled up and a little bit chunkier. This angle to this angle does not look good. I feel like since this is below a right angle to the head tube, and it looks bad. It doesn't look nice. I think that's it. I think that's what's throwing it off for me. Yeah, same with this one. It's not at it's a more acute angle than 90 degrees here at the head tube, and it's throwing me off. It doesn't look nice. Plus this C-tube looks like shit. But everyone knew that already.
Travel.
The bike, which is tied for the lightest on test at 33.4 pounds, is happy to not only offer a distinctive look, but also a suspension system with characteristics that will set it apart from the rest. With a fairly high sag number and extremely high suspension progression, the Kinematic is also certainly an outlier in this year's test. The high front end, moderate reach, and long rear center seem to capitalize and build upon all the lessons learned in recent years. All that said, what's it like to climb?
When it comes to climbing, I would say this bike, that progressive suspension does come back to reward it. It's got great grip, it's relatively smooth off the top, and tracking is also really good.
One potential drawback is the positioning might not be to everyone's taste. It has that really high stack height, which I personally like, puts you in a nice upright position, but for riders that prefer to climb with their weight a little bit more over the front wheel, it can make it challenging.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say though, for the more conservative riders who perhaps consider how well a bike climbs is all about efficiency, this bike really does deliver that when you get the power on the pedals.
Yeah, and that's a good thing because it's really difficult to reach the climb switch. So luckily you don't have to reach it. It is great and very efficient. So they've got that part sorted out.
Cool.
With the short stem, somewhat slack seat tube, deep sitting shock, and high stack, the burn can feel a bit too light on the front end at times through more technical sections. Regardless, this bike does climb well, if only it weren't held back by the comically short 150mm dropper. Providing you can stop and slam the saddle out of the way, which is not a given considering the 460mm seat tube length, which is a whole 55mm longer than something reasonable like the Ibis, how does this bike handle the descents?
When it comes to descending, really the Uno's strength is the ease that it goes into its travel, especially when you're kind of on the smaller chattery bumps. That feels really good, but it's not without its drawbacks.
No, absolutely. I mean, even on those small chattery slow speed bumps, you are getting quite a lot of noise out of this bike. Even things like the water bottle rattles on the underside of the top tube, and it can be really, really distracting.
Yeah. Noise aside, I prefer the bike when you're on slower speed steeps. That's where I felt the geometry worked the best and the suspension design. That high stack really puts you in a good position. But again, there's trade-offs to this very progressive layout.
On steep stuff, the tracking and the way it used its first portion of travel was really, really exceptional. One thing though that I couldn't ever really get my head around is the compromises they made for this system to have it packaged in that way. That seat tube is so long, and it's also got quite a low insertion depth, which means on our size large, we had a 150mm dropper that was also too high, but then when it was up at full extension, not quite high enough.
Yeah, and it just kind of seems silly that you'd have to do like you used to do, get off the bike, lower the seat in order to go down. Yeah,
it's got that wedge, it hasn't even got a clamp. So the whole thing is kind of a bit of a mess.
I kind of alluded to it before, but the greatest strength I'd say of the suspension layout is that small bump sensitivity.
Yeah, that small bump sensitivity, which is excellent when the speed of the trail is slower, does kind of come back to bite you when it's going faster pace, because you blast through, or at least I felt, blast through that first half of the travel and then hitting that wall of support, which could be downright uncomfortable. And I never really felt that it was able to really maximize all of that travel it had on offer.
Yeah, suspension setup is definitely tricky on this bike, and all of us tried different combinations and never maybe quite found the perfect one, so that's tricky. As far as the frame stiffness goes, we were in agreement that it was a nice blend of being stiff without being too stiff. It is pretty comfortable, kind of that racy feel, but it's also not rattling your fillings out.
The burn, much like its suspension then, is a tale of two halves, depending on the speed of the trail that you're riding. But there is more than meets or even draws the eye when it comes to this frame.
I feel like
when it comes to the frame
it's
itself,
a Dennis bike.
It has got some really nice features.
Guy
I think
who
that frame
gets
storage
a lot
is
of
actually
money,
really
guy who has a
well
lot of money to
executed.
throw
Simple,
around.
but really effective.
Yeah, they did a good job there.
And,
the whole thing with the frame though is it's kind of
doesn't really
there's a lot
care
of compromises they did
and
to incorporate that
can't
suspension
get hurt
design. At least that's
because
the way
he
that it
works
feels.
9 to 5.
And not everything.
That's what this
you
bike
just
is
end up
for.
with from the beginning it's compromised.
Absolutely. It's funny because we really liked the angles of this bike, if not necessarily the dimensions. So the reach was good, the rear length was good, and the head angle was fantastic. The problem is, when it comes to geometry, you can't really overlook that seat tube. It just is completely out of place on an enduro bike going into 2024.
Yeah, exactly. And going on with that with geometry, there's only 3 sizes, so it's going to kind of initially limit the number of people that could potentially fit the bike. They also have the same chainstay length for all 3 sizes, which isn't the end of the world, but we're definitely starting to see more companies go to that different chainstay size for different lengths.
It's definitely a divisive prospect then, and apart from somebody who wants a bike with enough gold to make a pirate blush, who is the Uno Burn for?
The ideal candidate for this bike is really someone, I guess, who wants to stand out. I mean, it's rare that you're gonna see one of these bikes on the trail. It's definitely different. You're flying your seat post flag high if you're on this bike.
Yeah, it's either
It's such
very
a bad
flash or a bit
thing.
gauche. It depends.
Yeah.
Depends which way you look at it.
I don't like
Yeah,
this
when it comes to
bike.
people who shouldn't
I
consider
think
this bike
I've
or wouldn't be suited to
decided
them,
that I don't
it would be
like this
anybody that wants to have a
bicycle.
continuous ride where they can use a dropper as intended. Because you will be
I
reaching
don't
3 or
want this
4
bike
mil to
to
do that
exist
little wedge bolt
anymore. I want
to
this
change
bike
the
to
saddle
go
height
away.
between descents and
I want
climbs.
Italians to stop
Secondly, I'd
making
say
bikes.
if you like to ride flat out
It's
rough
over.
trails,
Yeah,
there are better
Pinarello,
platforms out
keep
there.
it.
Yeah, exactly. I will say it's good on this.
Nothing else. Just Pinarello. That's it. This sucks. I would rather pay the same amount for the Nikolai in a heartbeat. Let's look at Geo though and see if they have any Geo listed. If their website is going to be not the fucking worst website on earth like everyone is. Let's see. Will they have a list? Geometry tables. Here we go. 510 reach, too small. Boo. What else? This I haven't watched. This I watched. It is cool, but it's all kind of stuff that I thought I want to watch this actually. So we'll watch this one and then that one, and then we'll find something to play. Bro. That's me, bro.
I can't get very many.
I don't know what it means.
It's science.
Oh, okay.
It's
Yeah.
science. It is science. I also don't know what it means. I just
Mountain
do it.
biking is
It's
excellent.
fun.
Nukeproof started with the Mega, and now their
Juke-proof?
bite-obsessed naming
White boys love
convention
Juke-proof?
is really getting some momentum. That said, does adding the Giga to its range stretch the bandwidth of what Enduro is just a little bit too far?
No.
The Giga isn't an entirely new bike in Nukeproof's lineup. It first launched in 2021.
Why do you want to eat
but more
it, huh?
recently, they added a mixed wheel setup, and so we decided to bring that in and see how it stacks up against the other crappa bikes we've got for this field test.
The Giga 297 is the longest travel bike in Nukeproof's lineup that isn't a downhill bike. It's 180 mil front and 180 mil rear. For people who are looking for a big gravity sled, Nukeproof calls this a Park Duro bike, which despite being a pretty cringy name, accurately describes the thing as something that's like really meant for gravity-oriented terrain.
This guy gets me.
As mountain bikers, we've built up a tolerance to cringe over many years of strange marketing terms. Park Duro, however, may well indeed just be the bridge too far. That said, it does offer a question. Is this style of bike
not
genuinely different from a true 160mm Enduro thoroughbred? And if
There's
so,
park bikes already.
does that potential compromise inhibit, bloody hell, its climbing capabilities?
For a bike with 180 millimeters of travel front and rear, the Giga is a pretty manageable climber. The position is very comfortable, has one of the steeper seat tube angles we have on test, and your position above the frame is pretty good, but it's not without its downsides.
Yeah, amongst those, it's a pretty low slung geometry overall, and then with 180 mil of rear travel, when you're at sag pedaling the bike, the BB is quite low, so in technical terrain it can feel like it hangs up a lot. I think we would choose to spec this with shorter cranks if we had the option.
This comes with 170 millimeter cranks, probably more appropriate to have 165 cranks on there. One nice feature is that it's easy to reach that climb switch on the rear shock, and so that firms things up, helps you sit a little bit higher, makes it feel more efficient.
You
and
will
again,
need the lock
helps
switch.
alleviate some of those pedal strike issues.
'Cause
So
goddamn,
shorter,
what I know is
165 downhill
not
length cranks
meant to be
might
climbed on.
just give some clearance. And you'll just have
I
to
don't care
run
what
them
you
for a
say.
while before the industry finally releases the 167.5 Park Duro compromise cranks that we're all screaming out for.
Yes.
But what's it like on laps, both in and out the park?
While all that travel can feel great in steep natural terrain, at times it can feel like it rides a little bit lower in its stroke and almost gets a bit wallowy. As you go through the travel, there's just not as much support as some other bikes have.
On the bright side though, even though you are sitting deeper in the bike, The geometry does handle really nicely. It feels balanced, and it suits the character of the bike well.
Because there's so much suspension travel to manage, it's important to ensure that your fork and shock setup are correct. If you get one off, the bike can start to feel unbalanced, whether it's diving too much in the front or too much in the back. So it's important to take the time, get a nice balance setup, and that's going to help the bike while descending.
When you do have the suspension set up nicely, the low center of gravity and balanced feel between the wheels on the Giga means it's great in the steeps. You can really drive your feet in, and it feels to get carbs turns nicely even when you're bearing down on the front.
One thing we did notice is under hard braking, the suspension can stiffen up a little bit, mostly noticeable when you're hard on the brakes in steeper sections of terrain. It's fairly predictable, so not the end of the world, and it's something we typically notice with single pivot suspension layouts, but something to keep in mind.
I'd say the last point to touch on is that the Giga handles big hits really well. I mean, they're calling it kind of a park free-ridey bike in addition to being a super enduro bike, so it makes sense that off big drops, case jumps, whatever, it soaks that up well. Like it has good progression, but you never feel like you're running into the end of anything.
The deeper feeling might put some off, especially because of the speed that it feels like you get there. This could be alleviated with the mid-stroke support of a coil shock, a higher compression tune, or possibly a combination of both. Deep feeling bikes aren't bad, and the Giga thrives on steeper tracks, big hits, and provides a ton of grip. But if you're looking for something taut and poppy, this probably just isn't it. But let's talk about that frame and see if we can resist making a big deal about that water bottle, but I wouldn't hold your breath.
The frame itself has all the little features, well, most of the little features you'd hope to find in a modern enduro bike frame. There's room for a full-size water bottle. They've kind of cradled it inside the carbon fiber. It's kind of a neat little cutout for it, almost like a water bottle holster. Appreciate that. And it also has accessory mounts under the top tube and a decent amount of chain slap protection, so those are taken care of.
It's not the quietest bike ever. We noticed some cable rattle, even though it has like tube-in-tube routing.
Quiet it down, but out of the box, not dead silent. One feature that we mentioned earlier, but is also should be mentioned again, is the progression chip. Takes maybe 5 minutes, if that, to adjust the bike's progression. So it's something interesting you could experiment with out on the trail. I think all of us preferred it in the lower progression setting, but it is there, and it's simple, well executed, so nice feature to have.
One last frame arrangement issue to bring up is going to be the chainstay length on this bike. It's consistent across all sizes, and we were only riding the large of XL and double XL. So if you're getting into those bigger sizes, the fixed chainstay length is going to start feeling proportionally weirder. Say if I were riding like the double X, like a 515 reach, that somewhat stubby chainstay length is going to start feeling a little weird and imbalanced.
Speedy setup options that can be changed at the trail side. No fancy tools, just a simple 8mm Allen key. That said, for a bike that is so alive to the nuances of setup, it would be great to see size-specific chainstays throughout the range.
Yeah, that'd be so much better.
Who's this bike for?
I think the Giga 297 is going to be a great bike for people who want a lot of travel that's fairly easy to handle. It's got a solid spec across the whole lineup, but especially the bike that we've got.
I'd say it's not the snappiest or maybe not the most efficient feeling bike, but we are talking about a bike with a...
That is the purpose of that bicycle, is to... You want something that handles like an enduro or trail bike, but you want all the squish and couchiness of like, I don't know, like a 3-year-old DH bike. Like most DH bikes haven't changed in the past 3 years. Buy this. It'd be nice. You just let it run and then hit a big jump. It's in the same category as like oh, what do they call this? The Strive? Is that what this one is? The Clash. That's what I'm thinking of. It's in the same like market as this, right? Or this is entirely marketed as a park bike. Like they don't. It's 170, only 27.5, not even 29. It's just a park bike, which is sick. That's a good thing. And I feel like there's, now that bike parks are opening up more and more, I feel like there's a really good market for this kind of bike. And I'm saying that like there's a but there's no but. It's just good. I think it's just good. I like that there's a market for this kind of bike, and I think it's good that they're going to stick around, at least for a little bit longer. Reach 520. It's like same as Same as my Meta. 64.5. Yeah, like super like just a fun bike because they have the Clash too, or not the Clash. That is Clash. They have the FRS. That's what I was looking at. They have this too, which is their like park DH bike. So you have like the same niche in the same market of just a bike that is only ever gonna see bike park and like shuttle labs. But you have a squishy and less squishy option. Like this one is more like just if you want to just huck giant shit and be super comfy all day. Like this would be a phenomenal patroller bike. This would be a really good patroller bike. The FRSs, I think. Me personally. Because if you're just up there all day and you're just kind of cruising and just like popping around having fun on like blue cruiser trails or like black flow trails even, so chill. Like the nicest time ever. It doesn't matter. Like you just beat the shit out of this bike and it'll just stay alive forever. And then you have like this option for people who are used to DH bikes and they want something big and cushy. And then you have the Clash option, which is for people who are used to trail bikes and they want something a little more like poppy, playful, new school jibby kind of deal. I don't know. It's cool that there's this kind of market. Also the Canyon too. There's a Canyon. I think this is the Strive. Or no, like the Torque. Canyon. Torque. Yeah. The 275 and the mullet. Mostly the mullet, I think. Is their it's their play bike. It's just a big oversized BMX. Guys who have gotten older and have full-time welding jobs that used to BMX as kids, these are the bikes they get. Yeah, see, like even put a dual crown on it. Like it's just made for park, which is fucking tight. Because bike park is like the biggest growing sector of current mountain biking. Like it's the one that all the companies are going for because it's the easiest. It's not accessible. I don't want to say accessible, but it's the easiest to access different kinds of terrain. Is what I'm saying. So if you want to test a mountain bike for descending, which is what most people are getting mountain bikes for anyways, at least higher end mountain bikes like this, you just take it to a bike park and then just do some variety. That's like the best way to test because you can just do laps over and over again. So secretly, the majority of bike brands are using bike parks as their testing grounds and are in turn developing all their bikes for bike parks, which is good and bad. Because like at least the majority of mountain bikers that I know who are like avid mountain bikers are all at the park anyway. So but like worldwide it's a little different, especially in like UK where it's not a huge thing to have lift service bike parks, like either they're truck service or just pedal up a fire road. So
warming up, getting ready.
I don't know. We'll see if this lives longer than like all the other bikes we keep up with, I guess.
Excellent.
Commencal has a long history of putting racing before anything else. This approach has
so
given them presence,
pretty, though.
wins,
Oh my
and a degree of
God.
prestige many brands can only dream of,
You're
which isn't
gorgeous.
bad for a direct-to-consumer brand. With the Commencal Meta V5, they've made two versions, the race-ready 29er, which features slightly less travel, and this, the SX. More travel, a smaller rear wheel, but still the same DNA at its core, along with a font
the
that
Meta have
neatly
less
matches
travel?
some well-placed
Do they get
cable
down to
ties.
150?
We can explain
Am I
that
crazy?
later.
The Commencal Meta SX V5 is a
So I have
real
the
departure
2021.
from the previous version, and that mainly comes down to its suspension layout.
Yeah, right. So they moved away from a single pivot
I have the
linkage-driven
V4.
system to their V4S, which is a dual link layout. What did that feel like on the trail, Henry?
Yeah, I mean,
like this
honestly, it's a
lot.
really
This
well
looks
sorted
really
system.
nice.
We're all really impressed. It
What's the
managed to
deal?
combine
How much did
excellent
it
small bump,
change?
mid-stroke, and end-stroke. And to me, it
500.
felt not dissimilar to that Yeti
Whoa,
Switch
under
Infinity
500
system,
for reach.
albeit with maybe a bit more ramp up.
So would you say that it was really good in the
Whack.
bike park? Would it be a good race
Yeah,
bike, perhaps?
I know.
Well, this is
whack.
it. Commencal call it their bike park shredder bike, and they've got the full 29 denoted as their race bike. But this would kind of be good at everything.
So it's not a race bike, even if it does happen
It's just
to go
like
quickly.
it's.
Commensal apparently just can't resist making a bike
Schmeep.
for those that wish to go
I don't know,
fast.
Schmeep.
The long rear center, steep seat tube, moderate reach, they all help when the trail turns uphill, especially when teamed with a high stack.
The longer rear
Ultimately,
center is a lot
this is a
nicer.
very
Like
comfortable bike
they
to climb.
balanced out the Geo
Does
a
it
lot
risk
better on this
becoming a
one.
lethargic supercross slugger?
The Commensal on the climbs, thanks to its really high stack height, it's actually a very comfortable place to be. And to give it credit, it does track really well.
Right, so lots of grip, but maybe not enough support, not that efficient feeling.
Yeah, I would say so. For people that want a bike park bike or a lift access bike that they can do a lot of pedaling on, they're going to love this. But I think it doesn't necessarily have that taut, efficient feel that people that love to pedal will be seeking.
Surprise, surprise, the alloy bike made by the brand that puts most of its efforts into building downhill bikes isn't the fastest climber. Is that important for a bike like this? Should you care? Do we? This bike was never meant to be a cross-country bike. It's meant to be something that will get you to the top, eventually, before you can smash right back
They have the
down.
tempo too.
But is there
which
more to this bike in
really
terms of
sexy.
versatility than meets the eye?
So I think this bike actually has great race geometry because it's not the slackest, but it does have a tall stack height, which makes you feel
this
centered
guy.
and deep in the bike. So it
so
gives you that
pretty.
confidence.
Absolutely. Although I would say for a bike that does
So
offer so much
pretty.
confidence, if you're really
Not
going
the
through
bigger
hard
bend,
turns,
but the
you
XL
can
is
actually
really
get
pretty.
quite a lot of flex out this bike.
Right, so what's lost in
Ooh.
flex comes back in comfort. This is a very comfortable bike to ride in the bike park.
For full runs,
Still
I think it's
fun,
right
man.
up there with
Man.
the Chromag.
They
being
make
the
their
out
shit
and out
short
most
now. That's so
comfortable bikes on
lame.
test. And compared to something like the Pole, which is another alloy bike, it is night and day in terms of feel. I would say though that one thing we didn't particularly like is this bike developed some really loud creaking right from day one. And I would say not from chain slap, but just pedaling around the car park, it was by far and away the noisiest bike.
So if you could forgive those
Interesting.
creaks and groans, you do get the stability in the bike park, but you don't get that fork flop of the really slack bikes. And that's thanks to the steeper head angle
Anymore.
and the tall stack that still gives the stability.
Yet this bike is so confident at higher speeds, but like you said, without feeling unwieldy on slower tech sections. One thing we did notice though, is if you're riding it through really fast chatter, when the bike gets back to full extension, it sometimes feels that it's got a bit of unwillingness to break into its stroke. Once it's in the stroke and moving, it's very supple, but there was something about getting
Braking.
it moving that had a bit of reluctance.
The braking.
All in all, the Commensal is a very well-balanced bike
Commensals, like
front
these
to back.
metas
It
are
didn't get
notorious
pigeonholed into
for
being too
bad,
slack or too free
like,
ride or too this or too
braking
that.
sensitivity
Riding
with
it
the
everywhere in the
suspension.
bike park just seemed easy and comfortable, hey?
Yeah, it's actually a remarkably solid all-rounder when it comes to descending.
All right, so it's fast, direct, and comfortable, but absolutely not for racing. Jokes aside, the Commensal Meta V5 does paint a vivid picture of how different alloys or designs can give a bike a very different feel out on the trail. It's a world away from the harshness of the Pole Oni, though. That said, both alloy bikes do make enough noise to live up to their metal musical namesakes.
Something that I really liked about the Commensal was that the shock was very accessible and also had things like the handlebars. It wasn't anything goofy, it was the things that I would actually buy. The grips were good, the stem was good. It was nothing too weird and everything was kind of as I'd have it personally.
Yeah, I would agree, but wasn't there something weird about the water bottle? I saw you had rigged up some sort of zip tie.
The water bottle placement is daft. So if you have it lower down
Yeah.
with some cable ties, it does flip
Yeah, I have this same issue.
and it clears
But
the
this-
linkage. If you have it higher up and you try and put a water bottle where the bolts are, it fouls on the piggyback of the shock. Commensals say that if you want a fiddle lock bottle cage, it negates this, but it's a ridiculous, they can make the bike any way they want. Well, we've done it bad, but you can fix it like this. It's a nonsense to me.
Yeah,
And I think that
it's whack.
it really didn't deliver for a bike that could be ridden all day. One thing I did like though, was that they've got the 1.5-inch head tube and they give the option
stamped is good.
of through the head to cable routing for those that like it, but for 99.9% of people that don't, it's still the regular internal.
Okay,
was
and
good.
was there something else about the seat post? I mean, I found that it was tall enough for me, a 175 dropper. You, Kaz, Dario, you're a little taller.
I think that it's got a long insertion depth. I actually ran a post that was over 200 during some parts of testing for the pedal days, and it was great. Fox make a long dropper, just put it in. It's nonsense, and especially there are some brands that do adjustable droppers, and that's what a brand's got to do. It's got to choose the right OE parts, and I'd love to have seen it with a longer dropper.
What we have here is a bike with great fundamentals and some silly executions. However, at the heart of the Meta SX is balanced geometry that'll give you the confidence to ride hard and fast, and with the knowledge that your weight will stay nicely centered. Also, let's not forget it's the second cheapest bike on test, and it's one of 3 bikes under $7,000 US. That's with a very solid spec, even if they did skimp on the bearings.
It is a
So
big
apart for those who
move
have an aversion
away
to putting
from
thick
the
black
last
cable ties
version.
in their brand new premium mountain bike, who's this bike for?
So the Meta SX V5, who is this bike for? Somebody who wants comfort, great suspension, and quick handling.
Absolutely. Whilst this bike is a great all-round
Average
descender,
park guy.
I wouldn't say it's a true all-rounder. I think there'll be some
Average
people that
park
want
enduro
something that
bike
feels
guy.
a bit
These are all
snappier
park
for the
bikes.
pedaling, and if you're not riding the lifts, you
Like-
might want something that feels a bit more efficient.
We've confirmed that this is a bike that'll shine the harder you push and one that loves speed. But what exactly are its strengths and weaknesses?
I think the big pros for the Commensal is that it's got a great suspension system that lets you plow and
This is like
pop.
average
It's got dialed
enduro
balance
bro
geometry,
bike.
and
Like,
also
you just
offers
take
a
it and it's
good degree
fine.
of comfort
It'll just do
for a bike
anything you
that can be
want.
ridden so hard.
And how about the cons? Well, you did have to bodge your own water bottle on there.
Like, it's not the
And
most poppy
for
and
people
playful.
who are not so savvy with maintenance
not
and
the
stuff, we
most
did have that
bulldozery,
creaking
it's just
issue.
right in
There's
the
definitely
damn
some
middle.
concern about the longevity
Just
of the pivots and
decent
whatnot.
at
And
pretty
then
much
there were
anything.
our mixed feelings about the flex of the frame. Some of us liked it, it gave a little more comfort, but for somebody who wants like a precise tracking bike, this might not be the one.
Comfort machine, racer, enduro, freeride? Either way, the Commensal Meta SX is a very versatile descender, even if it perhaps isn't the most sprightly
Just
on the climbs.
chill, have fun.
Whether it's downhill laps, big jumps, or riding
Chill,
blind
have fun
tech
bike.
faster than ever, the dialed geometry and support of the SX shouldn't be understated. It's a strong showcase to
They
how
have
far
had
suspension
my
feel has
favorite,
come, as well as being somewhat of a throwback in terms of bearing longevity and bungled water bottle cage.
Yeah, I've had my favorite edits for the Meta SX. Yeah, these two.
Sometimes
Oh, no.
on the journey to finding ourselves,
I don't
we have to make
care.
room
I
for
don't
adventure
care.
and leave our
This is sick.
Американская фирма Transceptor Technology приступила к производству компьютеров персональных спутников.
So sick. So fucking badass. Yeah. God, it's so sick. Fucking sick. That is damn right.
About 16 hours of waiting and then half an hour of absolute
For
gold.
what, bro? What are you waiting for? This mid-ass light? Crazy. So sick. It's a fun bike. It's a bike for guys who like riding bikes. That's what it is. And it's really good at it too. See, like this. Oh, this is some of my favorite riding in any video. Low-key. Dude is slick with it. There's this one like straight rhythm section. It looks so nice. Slick. Slick. nice third time you've hit that. They love getting 4 shots of the same jump. This, oh, it looks so good. This looks fucking awesome. I want to do that. Looks so fun. Okay, like the stripes down the side of the pants make me want to ride in like Adidas tracksuit. I feel like that would be so baller, actually. That'd be sick. Yeah, it's cool as fuck. It's like, I think most bikes nowadays at least are built for just guys who like riding bikes and having fun riding bikes, which is, I think, as it should be. I think it's really good. I just wish that they made more in my size. Bikes are good. Bikers are eating good these days. Let's see. I could finish that one. I don't want to look at this bike more than I have to. This Nikolai so far is winning for me. That is what I want the most out of any of these other bicycles. It is the weirdest. The Geo is the best for me. And the intent of the bicycle is the best for me, of just being a fucking bulldozer. It's good. I'm a fan. I like it. That's kind of all the, that's all the review I had. That's all the review that I had lined up. I don't know what else I'd want to rock here. I could find something to play. I don't know what I want to play, though. I got a Deus Ex Human Revolution again. I reinstalled it. That'd be fun to play. But I don't know if I want to start it this late. So get it like an hour into it and then get sick of it and want to go to bed. So, well, I guess we'll see who else is on. Let me put music back on. Ah, this album's so fucking good. Emerging. I'm crawling out of my cage and I'm feeling just fine. And we gotta beat all because we got it all. SCR. Let's see if anyone wants to play Val. What can we do in the meantime? What's something fun that I can do? Change the stream title since we are no longer review night. Wonder if that means anything. I don't think it means anything. No, it doesn't. You know what? Let's switch these. We can switch these. I will switch my go live notification with my title. So the title of the stream is now Put Me in Your Brain Like Cortana, which is good. I like that. It's like... Yeah, comments on like skis too. These are new and weird looking. They're pretty. They always have good. These are good looking skis, but I want to know what they are. Supreme FR. Supreme FR? Fucking for real? Are you fucking for real right now? What do they got in the biaxial fiber, biaxial fiber, biaxial fiber, ABS edge, phenol plate. What is phenol? Huh? Used in slimicides? Chemicals that kill bacteria and fungi in slimes? What the fuck? An anti-slime agent. Do you put this in pools or something? Is that what chlorine is? Weird. Ew, I'm learning so many new words. So how the fuck phenolic resin? What is a phenolic resin used for? Molding powders, laminating resins, adhesive binders, surface coating, and impregnants. Okay, so it's just nylon fiberglass made weirdly. 118 underfoot. Lame. Oh, it's such a boring ski though. It's so lame. At least it looks nice. Contours are good. It's kind of a basic bitch ski though. This is an insane graphic. That's fucking wild. That's bold. Triaxial fiber, biaxial fiber, triaxial fiber. Huh. 2 of that, so I guess that means it's stiffer because it's 3 instead of 2. ABS edge, phenol plate again. I guess, yeah, they're stiffer. 94, 17 meter radius. That'd be pretty fun, actually. It seems like a good, fun play carver. It seems pretty centered, too. That's cool. This is sick. I like this a lot. 86. All the same stuff in it. 100. Yeah, boring. Supreme white skis. They do white and a black, huh? That's interesting. I don't know if I like that, but it's interesting. Here's one that's actually my size. Let's go. Also the most twin tippy. All the same stuff though. 106. This would be fun, I think. 1844 per ski. That's light, so it'd be probably what, 2100 in the 188? That's light. That's really light. Maybe they want to keep it $2,000 in that ski, like just a $2,000. Interesting. Let's see absolute one. These are park skis, right? Yeah, twin. 94. Almost symmetrical. Yeah, they're park skis. And stupid light, too. Man, they make these, like, way too light. Low-key. Borderline too light. The old ones look nice, too. I like the purple. Interesting. That's, by far, I think, one of the most brave graphics I've seen this year. Being that it's fucking ugly. No offense. But damn. Oh, there's so many ski essentials videos to watch. Bro, I should do that on Saturday. I should just fucking watch the essentials for hours. There's so much pogtent. They're good at their jobs. They know how to be content creators. Let's see if anyone responded. Do some homework right now. Might take a break in a few though. Okay, LMK. Very nice. Man, I'm scared. I'm scared now. I'm afraid. I'm still so pissed at Rossi. I have an ongoing feud with Rosignol that they don't make this ski in my size because, in my opinion, it is the perfect fucking ski.
SkiEssentials.com. Welcome to our 2024 ski test.
I just want to watch this.
Rosignol Black Ops 118 for you today, and given the right conditions, this is one of the most desirable skis out there. Really just kind of follows that pro level athlete influence right on down and offers a ton of flotation, fantastic playful feel, and just a wonderful, wonderful opportunity when you get it in softer snow and the appropriate conditions and terrain.
It even looks short for him.
Finally got a good day on
so
it this
funny.
year. You know, it just kind of, it's hard to dial in the powder days around here, so when you get a chance to get on something like this on the right day or even on a softer day, it's an absolute joy to ski. Super fun, surfy, playful, and smeary. Just a great option.
Look how much
for
the
skiers
tips are
that
moving
either
and look
spend
how
a lot
little
of
his
time
feet are
in
moving.
deep snow or are just constantly in search
It's
of
like
it.
the power of these
Additionally,
skis.
you know, you want some type of freestyle or creative ski properties to go along with that. That's kind of where this wider twin tip style, really just a fantastic example of a modern freeride ski with freestyle influence built in. Nothing crazy going on in terms of the construction. Full poplar wood core. We do get fiberglass laminate in this ski as well. When that fiberglass is mixed with the epoxy, it does add some weight. We also get rubber
That's
in
fine.
the
We
tips
like
and
weight.
tails. You can kind of see it here, kind of where the yellow sidewall stops and the black starts. That's where that rubber laminate goes in the tail. And then we see it again in the tip. So right at that front part of the ski here, there's rubberized material under there, and that allows for just a smoother and more chatter-free ski experience. Really does a great job at mitigating vibrations when you're into more choppy terrain and stuff like that. But it does come at the cost of weight. You know, all of this stuff adds up. For a ski without metal, definitely one of the heavier skis out there, but you know, there's a lot of mass and surface area here as well. So you got to keep that in mind. This is the 186. We're on the scale at 2,476 grams. So there's some weight here for sure. It's still, you know, has that nice flex to it. So really progressive flex.
Solid
nice
2,500 gram
gives
ski.
skiers a nice
so
platform
good,
to stand on, you know, whether you're skiing aggressively or a little bit more playfully in softer snow. But really cool ski. Fairly simplistic build, but there's a lot of it, so it does add up. And then the more interesting aspect certainly is the shape and the profile. You know, we do have a fair amount of positive camber underfoot here, almost to the point where it takes a lot of effort to compress that camber. So they're certainly adding energy into the ski through that profile. And then tips and tails, we just get a ton of splay and quite a bit of rocker. You know, very dramatic. As you'd expect from a 118 twin tip. Basically, this is how it's supposed to be. So full sidewall, rocker starts here, leads to a fairly dramatic splay. You know, when you're getting into very deep snow, very helpful to have this type of shape in the shovel. And then nice
minimal taper.
Even taper profile here. So widest spot is right about here.
You're lying.
And
no
that
way.
kind of gives the tip just a smoother entry into fresh snow. keeps it from
That
getting
looks so
hooked
much
or
wider.
hooked or
I guess
caught
it's
up
closer
in
to the
any type
camera, but
of,
still.
you know, softer, more chunky snow, stuff like that. And then in the tail, just a ton of rocker, ton of splay back here as well, leading to a very playful exit to the turn. You know, we see that just a pretty big distance there. And then nice round taper at the back here as well, just offering that more creative finish to the turn.
It's so pretty.
In this 118.
It looks so good.
Great
This
choice
graphic sucks. This
for
graphic sucks. This graphic
advanced
sucks. And I
expert
pissed about it. This graphic
upper
sucks.
level
ass.
skiers who
I
are
hate
looking
this
for
graphic.
that
It's so ugly.
wider,
but everything
pretty
else about
burly
the ski is fucking beautiful.
A really good mix of aggressiveness and playfulness.
That's me.
Again, kind of offering that level of creativity to skiers that have the skill set to access it. It does take a little bit more work, but when you get there,
That's
it
me.
is an incredible
I don't need to put in work because
So,
I'm 250
if you get the opportunity,
pounds.
soft
I
snow
can bend
day.
any ski in half if I want to. I saw a blank one. Let's see if they say anything different about my skis versus that ski.
Charmin reinvented the swim.
I don't think they changed it from last year. I think it's still. I think they just changed the graphic.
Got a Salomon QST blank for you today.
Hi Bob, missed you.
And this is the
Haven't
widest
seen you
ski
in a
in
while.
Salomon's line. Really kind of harnesses
So
that
pretty.
free ride mentality that they look
It's
for.
so much better than my
does it in a
graphic.
pretty solid and stable package as well. When they moved from that wider QST down to this, there was definitely a few grumblings here and there that, you know, it's just not wide enough. It's not going to float enough. And our
doesn't.
experiences on this
No, it
QST
doesn't.
blank have kind of proved the opposite.
That's-
They do a lot of really interesting things with the shape and the profile of the ski that
It's
does
not
add
a
to the
BC
flotation,
POW ski.
even at 112
I'll say that.
millimeters underfoot. So if you're
With
worried
BC
about
skiing,
that width of a
it doesn't
ski
work
not
quite
being-
as well.
Not going to be able to be floaty enough. Rest assured, this one definitely has that that additional flotation.
But
due
like
to
most
the
places,
shape
it's
and the
fine.
profile.
Just specifically
does have
like
the QST
Western
build,
Canada
full poplar wood
and
core.
like Alaska.
We get carbon and
type
flax stringers
this side of
in the
the
forebody
skiing
here
world.
and through the tail. So that adds a good
Doesn't
amount
float
of
nearly as well as
stiffness
the
and
118.
responsiveness without adding a ton of weight. Does a nice job at getting this ski very precise for how wide it is. That was kind of one of the things that stood out to us, was for how well it floated. It was actually really reactive, and that was a really fun experience.
Yeah, it's fun.
We also get their
fun to
double
carve.
sidewalls. So in the underfoot zone and slightly extending to the tips and tails, there's kind of this blue material. I don't know how well that shows
one
up
of my
on
favorite
camera,
parts.
but it's basically a stiffer, denser ABS material. So that adds more edge grip and power and stability to the underfoot
And
zone of the
damping.
ski. Nice little addition there. And then we get cork damplifier as well. So cork material in the tips and
Cork
in
and
the
flax.
tails. And that
Oh, no,
really
it's
helps
carbon and
keep
flax.
the
That's
ski
what the
smooth
thing
and
is.
stable as well. So a lot of different ingredients going on in this ski really kind of helps make it feel like a more sophisticated option when you're ripping down the hill. But more of the interesting stuff happens when we talk about the shape and the profile. Before that, this is the 194. This is the big one.
That's my
it's not
size.
terribly light. So
Let's see your-
2292 grams on the scale,
22?
just under 2,300 grams.
I for
so
sure
not
thought it was in
terribly
24.
light, but again,
Mine are in 24.
this is the 194 with quite a bit of surface area. So that's kind of the reason behind those extra grams. But we really see some fun
Mine are
stuff
chunky.
when we talk about the profile here. We do have that
it's so
nice
good.
positive camber underfoot.
It's so
And then pretty long rocker in the shovel, starting
So
basically
good.
down where this black part starts on that Salomon graphic and extending all the way up. Nice moderate splay there, nothing crazy, kind of what we expect with a modern freeride ski. And then quite a bit of tail rocker as well, so starts right about here. Long, smooth tail rocker.
so
We've seen this in QST
smooth,
skis
so
for
smooth and progressive.
a few years now, and really kind of helps the ski kind of act like a rudder, especially when you pair that taper in there as well. So the widest part of the ski, you know, way back here, kind of lines up with where the rocker starts, and that thinning of the tail really helps maneuver the ski in deeper snow. It also, when paired with that pretty dramatic tip taper, so widest part of the tip is way down here, that combines for a shorter effective edge and a shorter turn radius as well. So in this
I think the turn
194, we're
radius,
looking
I
at
was
an
gonna say
18-meter
Yeah,
turn
18, I
radius,
was gonna say.
which is pretty short for a ski like this.
Super short.
Normally when we're seeing these wider freeride skis, it is a little bit longer of a turn shape, but this one kind of keeps it shorter.
Typically
that kind of filters
21
through
to 23.
in the rest of the QST line as well.
I think that's usually
Makes
the
it just
average
more
for
maneuverable,
this
easier
kind
to
of
turn,
ski.
more approachable, but does kind of eliminate, that long, super, direct turn down the fall line.
Not as
You
much.
can do it. It's just the ski also likes to turn shorter as well.
Yes.
But a really great choice for advanced expert skiers who spend most of their time in really deep and soft snow.
It's the exact same as Focal's multi-radius. It's the exact same. Does the same thing.
That taper goes a long way in making the ski turny and a whole lot of fun. So definitely check out this 2024
Like feeling-wise,
Salomon
not design-wise.
QST Blank here at
Feels the same.
skiessentials.com, and we will see you out there on the hill. Bye.
Okay, so not that much to run. Just versatile. Just good and versatile. Good middle ground ski. I think this is one of my favorite skis. It is one of my favorite skis I've ever skied, obviously, since I've had it for more than a season, and I'm not thinking of selling it, other than to get this new graphic, because it's really pretty. But I think it's one of the best, like, well-rounded, versatile. If you don't know what ski to bring, just bring that one. Because it's fun on groomers. It's fun in deep, shitty chop. It's fun in powder. It's fine in powder. For me, it's fine in powder. But it's fun in powder. Just anything. Anything is good. Just good ski. It just needs a little bit more elbow grease to make it really work, which I have. I have tubs of elbow grease waiting to be used. Stance 102. Yeah. I want to hear about this.
.com. Welcome to our 2024 ski test. We got a Salomon Stance 102 for you today. This ski has been upgraded, updated for 2024. It's not like a wholesale change. They tweaked the build a little bit, kept the shape the same, and is still one of those really, really smooth directional chargers that we've loved for a few years now. Definitely takes that power to the next level while keeping a very direct line into aggressive skiing, fall line skiing. Really just kind of point and shoot down the mountain. This Stance 102 is one of the best and a little bit kind of a unique ski out there in terms of its shape and profile. Like always with these Stance skis, we've seen a nice high sophistication of build, and that continues into 2024 as well. Overall, they have lightened the load a little bit, made the ski a little bit more energetic, a little bit livelier, a little more pop, as well as increasing the accessibility and approachability. Those are kind of euphemisms for made it lighter. But overall, I think more skiers are going to be able to get on this thing. That top level isn't going to notice a huge drop in performance. It's still very strong, smooth, and stable. So the big change is moving from a full poplar wood core to a blend of poplar and caruba. So that caruba lightens the load a little bit, makes the ski a little bit more energetic and agile. Both of those things are not bad. Maybe just takes a little bit off the stability at the very top end, but we didn't notice a whole lot. We actually just more noticed that the ski was more energetic, which is a good thing. They also use a new Titanal frame. So whereas before they had the TI frame that has these windows cut out into it, they continue that. They fill those windows with a mix of carbon and basalt fibers, so it keeps that light and energetic as well. And then the next way that they changed is alongside of the windows here. What they did was they milled out another section of metal. So by kind of putting a slit in the metal there, they've made the torsional stiffness a little more approachable. So easier to turn, easier to get up on edge. This is kind of a nod to Armada's articulated Titanal banding because they're, they share a parent company at Amer Sports. It seems like they kind of share technology as well.
They do.
So putting those slits into either side of the window gives the ski a little bit more ability to flex.
I didn't
into
know
the
that. That's
turn
cool.
And just makes
That's a
it
good
more
idea.
approachable, easier to ski overall. Again, doesn't
But
take too much
also
off the top. I think these are
adds
nice
a hinge
improvements. If you're worried about it not being
Which is bad
burly
for
enough,
me
I don't know what
specifically.
to tell you.
I
Thing's
don't
still
like that,
pretty darn
me
strong.
personally.
But those are the main differences in terms of the
Still cool.
construction.
Still a really good idea.
Shape-wise, we do stay
It's
the
like the
same.
vocals do that too.
Also, just love the new graphic, new base graphic. Thing looks
Yeah,
really,
the
really sharp
base
out
color
there on
looks
the
awesome.
snow.
I think the
Solomon does.
like the split up metal in a ski thing. I think Vocal does it the best. Will not lie. I think it's the it's the mantras, the katanas, and whatever. Yeah, these. This one mainly. I think they made the biggest deal of it with this one. Yeah, you see like the metals, like they have a metal plate underfoot, and then right after the binding plate, it starts with the metal. So instead of having like a weird hinge point halfway out the ski, like the Armadas and the, I guess now the Solomons do, that's a lot more of a natural spot. Like you see, they don't do that back here. Oh no, they do. They do a little bit. Yeah, they do. I lied. And they have the metal pussy, the vagina lips, the labia here, the labia majora. But yeah, this is cool. It's just a good way to design a ski, I think. And they're doing this the same as the Mindbenders, where they have the it goes out into a fork, so you have a very torsionally grippy tip, and then it's thinner at the tail to make the tail a lot washier, so you can break turns easier. The white screens are wrecking my shit. And plus me having the skin tone of a vampire does not help things. These are pretty. I like these a lot. These are really nice. I would cop these. Genuinely. They look really fun. But I would cop these more. The katanas. Ooh, I'd cop these more. Oh, the ultimate bulldozer. Not quite the ultimate bulldozer, I think. I think the ultimate bulldozer is still the Black Ops 2018s, but these are up there. Pretty sick. Pretty tight. I feel like this would be a good... This is a... Yeah, professional. I like that. It's a good description. I feel like this would be a good patroller ski. I know it's too heavy to be a patroller ski. It'd be good. It's a couch. It'd be good for like just being up. If you're up every day and you just want to get through all of the shit, that's good. That'd be a good ski to have. That or like a Sender TI, something like that. This is cool. This is new for them. 100mm twin tip skis is a good idea. God, I want to watch so many of these. I just binge watch Ski Essentials videos for the rest of the night. I may. I want to. I haven't heard about this in a while. So I know they do a 192 of this, which is also... Hold on. Bullshit timing. Time for me to go on my rant. Okay. Rosignol. You stupid French motherfuckers. I want to kill you. With my mind. I'm gonna make you explode. Right, there we go. These dumb motherfuckers won't make this ski bigger than a 186. There's so much reason to make this ski bigger than a 186. I don't care if it's going to be stupidly, insanely overweight. That's what makes them good, is that they're really, really heavy. Because being that heavy combined with this flex pattern and this shape is like the ultimate bulldozer ski that can still do other shit. Like, this in like a 194 would be perfect for me. I would take that and I would ski that shit every single day of my life. But like, even a 191 would be amazing. Really nice. Because they make the 98, which is their other, like, that was the other twin tip option from them for the longest time. Let's see, let's find the men's one. It's still weird that they split them up into men's and women's. It's the same ski. Doesn't matter. Where is it? 98. There we go. This guy. Like, they make this in a 192, and it's essentially the same ski, just 98 underfoot. Like, these were the second Black Ops in the line, and the 118s were the first ones. Like, these skis are directly based off of the 118s, and they come in a 192. Why can't the 118s come in a 192? The fucking the Sender TIs come in a 194. Like, they have the capability of making shit longer than 186, and they are simply refusing to. People would buy them. Like, they have athletes that ride the 194. Like, it's not like there isn't a market for it. They do this now in a 191. Like, what the fuck? What the freak? Rosignol, what the freak? What's up with that? It's really pretty, though. The graphic, I liked it first, but now it's kind of meh. I don't know if I like it anymore. I like this blue a lot, and I thought the whole ski was going to be blue, but it's just okay. They're like, these ones are lame, I think. They're not lame, they're still really good. They're really good skis. But like, they could have been better. They could have been more cool. They could have been a little less, like, well-rounded. I don't know if I want it. I don't want them to be well-rounded. I want them to be big burly bulldozers. I think that's what most people wanted them to be. Nah.
Got a Rosignol Black Ops 98 for you today. This ski's a carryover model from last year, so it stays the same from a graphics and a construction standpoint.
Lame,
really
do your graphics every year, Ozzy, you're lazy.
Chance to get on these awesome,
I don't care if nobody buys your skis anymore.
Upper 90s
you have a lot of money. You've
we've
been around
talked a lot
forever.
about for years. Really amazing what Rosignol is able to get out of this ski with a fairly simple build. Just putting a different type of geometry on it really makes this ski stand out, and just a really good example of how
Stop trying to put money into
surfy,
bikes and put your money into
playful,
making
and
a new graphic
versatile
every
these
year.
twin tips can be, even outside of the park. You know, there's certainly a freestyle component here. They end up being a little bit on the heavy side and the wide side for more pure park skiing, but when you kind of mix that into the overall picture, it makes a lot more sense. So great job by Rosignol building the ski overall, and we're psyched to see it back for this year. Starting with the construction, they are built with a full poplar wood core, so nice mix of energy, stability, even lightness. You know, a lot of the heft in the ski really comes from the fiberglass and the related epoxy. So anytime you're putting those materials into the ski, it's going to weigh it down a little bit. We also get rubberized tips and tails. So when you're kind of dealing with something like this, you know, just having the wood core in there isn't quite enough to make the ski as damp as possible. So by putting that rubber material in the tips and tails, it just makes a whole lot of sense. You can even see it from the sides here where that blue sidewall ends. Then it goes into that rubberized laminate in the tips and in the tails. So the whole shovels and tails are very much in that damp and quiet category, and you can definitely feel it in this ski. Not a whole lot of vibrations in this thing whatsoever.
This song existed.
This is the 182, and get it on the scale, 2,050 grams. So definitely north of that 2,000 gram mark, putting it into the relatively heavy category. Again, there's quite a bit of mass here, just given the overall footprint of the ski,
Like the
and then
107
adding
songs
that
by something like
fiberglass, the epoxy, and the
The
rubber
one
into
you
the
can't
mix
even
does
listen to
add
anymore,
a
so
little bit of extra
they're
weight.
off
So
Spotify for
not the
whatever
most
reason.
nimble from like a swing weight standpoint, but it's nice to have that stability there, kind of when you let it go and ski more aggressively. In terms of shape and profile, you know, we're definitely dealing with a twin tip ski here, although the camber underfoot is kind of a big part of the story here. You know, when you're not putting additional materials into the ski to get energy, that's where the camber really comes in handy, because they're building that snap into the ski with the camber. And then we do get nice tip and tail rocker on either end.
There's nothing nerdy and interesting in those. I want something nerdy and interesting. Stokely's. The Echoes are cool, but I've seen too much about them, and I think that whole thing is that they're just the QST 106 but lighter and recyclable. Which I feel like that's kind of all you need to know. Where are all these? Man, I don't look at Stokely's ever, mainly because they're insanely expensive, but what do they have? What does Stokely have that I don't? They're all for rich people, I know that, because they're just, from what I've seen and from my experience with them, they are pretty inoffensive skis. Like, they're all kind of mid for how expensive they are. Like, they're good, but everything else is kind of at their level now. And they're not insanely good looking. This is pretty good looking, not gonna lie. This is good. Like, Schmeep. They don't make a lot of like cool, interesting skis. Comfortable all-mountain ski. Agile all-mountain ski. I understand. Absolute all-mountain performance. Okay. This guy knows what he looks like. This guy knows.
Hi everyone, I would like to present you the new Storm Rider line. All of these skis have typical.
This is not my market. I don't like buying skis from people who look like this. That vibe, not for me. I don't want to buy my skis from a dentist. I want to buy my skis from a park rat who sells weed as a side job. 91 is longer than I expected, I'll be honest. I thought for sure they would stop at like a 180 something. 188 even. Touring. This is very Swiss. Their widest touring ski is a 100. Unless this is wider. I doubt it, but 92, yeah, their widest touring ski is a 100. That is very European. These look fun. These are more what I imagined Stokely would have. 193. Ooh. This would be fun. I think that's like the one. These are the one Stokely's that I would buy, low key. Those are cool. The very definition of a race ski. Like, why can't we make normal skis in these lengths? What's up with that? I want a 201 like twin tip. That'd be dope. It'd be very tight. Very tight. Bro. But I feel like if I wanted to go with this style of ski, I'd just get Kessleys because I feel like they're low-key better. They're low-key better skis, and they look a little bit nicer. And like, fuck, all the white just sucks. I want to get something that like detects white and inverts it to black. I want to know if there's like a chrome extension to it. Sick. Oh my god, I had no idea Kesley made snowblades. That's so hype. That's the best. That's so fucking sick. Oh, that's so good. Perfectly designed for slalom training. Those short turns will become explosive and powerful thanks to these tools. Oh, okay, I see. I've never thought about it that way, where you can use snowblades as training. Because instead of having all your like 177 centimeters of ski to bounce off of, you have only 100. So you have barely more than what's under your feet, so you just have to use your legs to pop out of turns. That makes sense. That makes sense to me. I like that. That's funny. I didn't realize that was a thing that you could do. This is just funny though. I love when they say with a classic race-inspired sand or sidewall construction in Holotech 2.0. Oh, that's so funny. I love when they put all of their tech into snowblades when ski brands do. I think it's one of my favorite things. It's really funny. Like, I know K2 had like what is it? The fatty? They called them the fatties. Are they still do them? Are they still doing them? Oh, that's so sick. 2024, huh? No way. Oh, yeah, they have East Park Rails freestyle free ride. They used to have everything. Hard tricks? Only limited by your imagination. Hard charging Big Mountain? Hell yeah. I remember we used to have them listed, like these best for whatever, and they had everything listed. So they had like East Park Rails freestyle free ride, racing, powder, touring, like everything. It's really funny. I want these. These are pretty. These would be fun. This would be so nice to have. These look good this year. Look a lot better than last year's. I'm okay with this. I'm alright with it. I'll allow it. But like, you know what I'm saying about these? I'd so much rather get these. The Masters ones. Here we go. Maybe 5? That's a bit short though. Do they have more Master skis, or does all yeah, like, oh, 218. Oh, that'd be fun. Oh, that'd be so fun. I want to see what their longest, like, normal ski is. I guess 183. I don't think they'd be getting any longer than that. What's this? Oh, this is a beginner ski. Okay. Interesting. Interesting.
Ah, yes. There is a thing thou shouldst by rights possess. A remembrance of this.
Like, they're so much nicer looking than Stokely's. These are cool. These are good. I like these. Like, yeah, they're just better. I don't know. If I wanted a Stokely, I'd just buy these instead. They look better. There's better shit in them. They have better geo, better construction. These look sick. That's a cool ass ski. Are these like almost twins? No, he's just skiing weird. 20-meter radius, nice and light. It's a good looking ski. Like a little bit of tail rocker, not that much though. I wonder if they have a freestyle. There we go. Nope, this is moguls. This is true freestyle summer. Oh, they have holes in them for water. Oh, that's so sick. It like, I guess he's good at like thinking about shit. Like they think about things that no one else is gonna think of. That's good. God, I like that so much. This is such a good brand. And their Nordic stuff is hot. And these boots are sexy. Hold on. Yeah, the K130s. These are sexy. I love these boots. They offer them in half sizes. They're like a stiff 130. It's like a plug race boot. It's a plug race boot. They make a wide and low volume. Like a mid and a low volume. Like this looks so... This would be so nice, bro. Because I have feet that are like slightly wider than a low volume boot, which you can customize out pretty easily. But man, all this color's so good. And like the Ski Essentials guys, these guys actually did a review on these boots. And the lower shell comes up like halfway up the cuff almost, which just makes them like so stiff off the top. Super linear, and they're made of like the plug boot material. It's called, I think it's PU or TPU, yeah. But it's like their race boot blend of TPU for the bottom part, which just makes them like nice heavy damp, stiff linear flex, and it's just fucking, oh, it's so good. It's so good. So good, and I want them so bad. But holy shit, they're expensive. They're like a $1,000. They're a lot of money, which is not nice. But also, these are, their Nordic skis are hot too. What's Dopo? Oh, double pull. Oh, I see. It's their double pulling ski. This is the classic sprint ski, which is very smart. Very smart cookies. Roller skis. I want to go roller skiing again. It's kind of fun, but also I'd rather just go rollerblading. I'd rather get rollerblades and roller skis any day of the week. Skate skis in my size, 192. I'll take it. Cold, yeah. Hard for sure. These are nice. I love this color. It's such a good color. The Kesley teal. It's very nice. No boots though. I wish they made boots. Oh, they do make one. Oh, and it's lame. Interesting. Kesley's a good brand. I approve. What are the fan items? What does fan items mean? Is this like cups and stuff? Mug, bottle, first aid kit. Interesting. Stickers, glasses, also interesting. Slippers, dude. Oh my god, Kesley slippers is crazy. Holy shit! Are they like fluffy too? Oh, they are a little bit. Dog, I want those. Bottoms. Oh, that's so weird and cool. Race mints. What are race mints? No description. Guess they're just mints. These are hard. Oh my god. These are sick. I want these so bad. Oh my god. Those are badass. Those are fucking tight. How much are they? What? How much is that in normal money? We'll find out. Oh, not looking at the bright white anymore. Add. Why doesn't Google just make it happen? God, that's annoying. What is 50? 75 bucks? That's a little out of budget. That's a little out of what I would pay for them, actually. That's tough. Still. That's funny. Just having random swag like a cube? What's the cube? What's the cube? What's the stylish sitting cube? Oh, what she said? Wait, I want the cube. So what's that? Is that $90? Is that $90-ish dollars? $109, $110. Oh, yikes. That's a little steep. That's so funny, though. Oh my god. I want to buy the Kesley Cube so bad. I want the Kesley Cube. It's so good. The doormat, too. Oh my god. This is swag. Oh, you get it in teal, too? Oh, that's so funny. If I had infinite money, I'd fill my house with shit like this. That's so good. High potentials, what does that mean? Oh, interesting. People. These are humans. These are humans. Rasta, let's go! Big Rasta guy. Why is this in summer? Wait, what's going on here? That's so big. I don't like that. That's really big. I don't want to read that because it's so big. Oh, he's a racer. Why does he have a Rasta kit on? It's so funny. Skiers ride Kesley. This is... What a crazy image to have on the website there. Cool, I guess. Do they have any, like, people out there in the damn woods out hucking shit? This guy? Does this guy huck shit? He looks like he hucks shit. He looks like a not nerd. She also... What is that? What is this toque? Wait, what is this toque? What? Ski some Chilean volcano. Oh. That's cool. Oh, she does huck. That's sick. New podium paces. Oh, she's in Fair World Tour. That's sick. This beanie, this toque here, is hilarious. That's crazy. I've never seen like a graphic toque like that. That's wild, and I want one so badly. I don't even know who that is. I don't know if that's even a guy. I think it looks like a 3D render of just some skier dude on like printed onto a toque, which is crazy. I didn't think that was a thing. That's so weird. I want one though. Like I have my toques. Hold on. There you go. I have my toques there. Which are like they only embroider, which is kind of a little bit lame. Still hype though. There's nothing like. There's so much coming out, and there's not a lot that I'm actually interested in. Like, there's a lot that, like, obviously I'm hearing a lot of really cool shit, but not a lot that I'm personally interested in, and definitely not a lot that I am looking at buying. I think the only thing that I've seen today that I am actively looking to purchase are the line blades up here, which I've already watched a lot of reviews. I don't need to watch any more. I think I saw them. No Blade Optic 104. Never mind. But the line blades are up there for sure, because that'd be just fun. That K2 still makes TI2? I thought they stopped. They're investigating. Another white website to look at. It's so bright. Like, deadass? Chrome extension to invert all white. That is what I want. I want all white colors to be inverted now. Everything should be dark mode. Skis. Would they be in all mount? They'd be in pieced. There we go. Short curve. Roll women's. 82 TS. I was looking at these because we had them in store like a bit ago. You had the 184s. These would be fun. I wouldn't mind these. I'd get these. I'd remount them with something different, but I'd get these. That'd be fun. But where's the TI2s? That's what I really want. I'm gonna look at the crazy stupid skis that they made that no one will ever buy. TI. No TI2? That's what I'm saying. I thought they stopped making them. They're not on the website. Definitely not the All Mountain skis. These would be fun. I haven't really looked at them, but they'd probably be fun. 189. This bottom graphic looks awesome. Like, Roger Profile looks good. These are just like QST 106 competitors though. Like the new school jib lords who use directional skis will like this, and then old school guys who are getting lazy and want a more playful ski will like this. So like, most people getting on this ski will have a decent time, is what I'm thinking. Same as 106, just super versatile. No TI2. Well, let's hear what he says about them. Let's hear what this guy has to say. Where are the 122s? Where are my homeboys at? In the powder category? I liked these when I had them. I wouldn't mind just getting another size up with these. I could fill out a quiver. If I had money to fill a quiver out, I'd get a pair of those. The 191. That'd be fun. Like, no charging ever being done on those, but just like playful, light, fun ski. Okay, enough white. Where was that? Where's the TI2? Could just look it up, but I don't want to type on the keyboard because I'm lazy. The new prodigies look really fun too. The dancers look amazing. The monas are the same as the candieds, so they look fine. MTI, E2TI. Where did I see the TI2? I swear it was around here somewhere. Around the head super shape Titan. Which just rolls right off the tongue. Yeah, TI2, there we go. I want to watch this.
Elevate your cup.
See if it would be fun. For Big Bear.
Hey skiers, it's Bob with
Hey, Bob.
SkiEssentials.com. Welcome to our 2024 ski test. We got a K2 Disruption TI2 for you today. And for my money, one of the most fun on-trail carving skis out there today. This thing is an absolute blast. One of the reasons that it's so fun is because K2 doesn't have a race department that they're using to base their frontside skis off of. So a lot of other companies that have a race department, they are able to kind of take their race shapes and builds and bump them down a level, make them more accessible. K2 went with a ground up technology and method and just kind of started at the bottom and said, all right, what do we want for a frontside carving ski? And at the top end of that discussion, they landed on this TI2.
I like that.
Really strong, super stable, and one of the most fun and rewarding carving experiences from just an on-trail perspective that we've had. They do start and use their aspen wood core, and then they bolster that with 2 sheets of metal in their Titanal I-beam. Really does a nice job at smoothing out and stabilizing the ski. So whereas the other TI models have 1 layer of metal in this zone here, full width underfoot, tapers to a central spine in the tail, this ski has 2 of them. Pretty burly, very much kind of has that race-like feel to it, just a slightly different character. They also have their Powerwall sidewall underfoot, so a denser ABS material. You're getting a marker piston plate on this ski, as well as, I believe they're still including the Excel 12 in with this deal. So you're getting a real race binding as well. And then they also add their dark matter damping. So we see this material on the other Disruption skis, helps absorb vibrations in the tips and the tails. Goes a long way, especially with that metal. And then kind of the bigger story here is that longer turn radius. So this is the 182, 71 millimeters underfoot, and a 22.3 meter turn radius. So it's a straight shooter for sure. You know, I skied this length here and really enjoyed it. I thought it fit really well with
walk around with
kind of skiing with the contours of the trail, letting the thing run, and just overall having a blast and keeping the ski on edge. Incredible confidence in terms of edge grip, power, and stability. Just a tiny bit of tip rocker there, you know, squared off shovel. Compared to the other Disruptions, this one's narrower overall, really kind of gives you that race GS-like feel where you're just kind of on a narrow, more traditionally shaped ski. And then tiny bit of tail rocker. I think the rocker's helpful in this ski because it's so stiff that it's hard to properly initiate and complete a turn if you're not a full-on racer. So very minimal, squared off tail, super long effective edge, leads to that long turn radius. And it's just incredibly rewarding to have the ski kind of adhere to that radius, and you use the full cut of the ski to make those clean and round arcs. With that 71 millimeter underfoot, there is kind of a balance point you got to learn. So it's not like right out of the box, super intuitive, but once you get it, this is about as fun as it gets out there from a front side and carving perspective, while not being you know, based off of a race ski.
I would
make sure you check out this super unique.
I would really like to try a pair. They look so fun, but they're not on the website, so I don't know any of the another white website coming. I haven't looked at their snowboard graphics at all, I think. Hold on. Let's take a look, shall we? Boring. That's alright. Boring. What's that? That looks cool. What is it? Oh, boring. This looks cool. That's better. That's alright. Careful, that stuff needs to go away forever. That's alright. Burring, careful, that stuff needs to go away. Burring, that's pretty, I like that. This looks like it would be a fun snowboard. I like that. Very Japan board. Looks like Onyx EK freestyle, let's see. Boring. This could be cool depending on the base. That is cool. Actually, I like that. That's a good idea. Yeah, it looks good. It looks good with everything else. That color's, I think, the best. Or the yellow. The yellow would look good too. Boring. These we have in the shop, and they look fucking awesome. I think it's one of my favorite graphics this year. base graphic is such a nice idea, and it looks really, really good. The colors are amazing. Boring, 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 boring. That's cool. That's last year's. So it doesn't count, but I like this. That's a cool board. Boring, 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 boring. Okay, next. All mountain. Boring. Oh, these are cool. That's nice looking, actually. I like that. It's classy. That's good. Good. Boring. Boring. Ooh. Okay. Alright. I'm not gonna knock it because it's an artist. I like this bottom. I like that. That's cool. Yeah, I'm down. I like it. These aren't as good as last year's, the broadcasts. I feel like the broadcasts haven't been great for a bit. This looks really, really nice. Yeah, no, I can't help but like this, actually. I really like that white and red at the bottom. It looks really good. This appeals to my my sensibilities for graphic design. Boring. What does the bottom look like? Yep, boring. Boring, 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 boring. Yeah, like last year's even wasn't that good. I didn't really like it. I know it's supposed to be like that 90s, early 2000s kind of look that everything else is going for, which I usually like, but they didn't really get it across for that one. Let's see, powder. I think we already looked at a lot of these. Alchemists. I feel like... Oh, that's so... I liked the colors and the patterns at first, but... No, that's not... It's really not doing it for me. That's not great. It's not awesome. And I know this is like... That's like inside the board. That's like part of the board, this like honeycomb. But... I kind of wish they would just keep it all black. Because now I know that this base isn't going to be as nice as I would want it to be for a $900 snowboard. Because I would prefer that they just put like a nice race base on the bottom and then charge like 70 more bucks. Because that's what I'd really care about for that board. Everything else is good. It's all fine. P2, not good for graphics. Past few years, not very good. All the Mindbenders look like shit. Reckoners are usually just mid. Like, I think their best graphics were the first year that they ever did them. Everything else is just fine. Boots, all the colors are just not awesome. Especially in the three-piece category. That's classy and fine. This is ugly and bad. This is fine. It's just kind of boring and looks the same as the full tilt ones. Boring. Ugly. Ugly. That's nice. I like this. That's alright too. That's not bad. That's pretty good. That's kind of ugly, but ugly, but eye-catching, and it's T-Dub, and he's always had that kind of thing going on. Yeah, ugly. Ugly. One's alright. This one's good. I like this. I like this because I've convinced myself that I like how it looks because I want to buy a pair. Ugly. Very ugly. This is the worst ever. It's fine. It's boring. This one looks good. That's classy. That looks nice. Ugly. 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 These are all last year's, but these look good. The beanies always look good. This is awful, but kind of in a funny way. So it wraps around to hard. These I want. Genuinely. I would buy a pair of these in that color. I like that color a lot. Everything else, just, yeah, also just mediocre. I like that markers doing their Griffin 13s in so many colors. It's cool. It's a good idea. I like it. I just wish they did these in more colors. Or these, I guess. I'd get these. This is terrible. That is completely bad. This also not good. Man, that sucks. That's lame. Oh yeah, Dynafit. I didn't do Dynafit in so long. What are they up to? I know they were... I thought they were doing something different other than the Hoji. Yeah. I thought they changed it up at least a little bit. Man. Ski touring boots, that's what I want. That's hype. Wait, that's hard. Wait, I want a pair now. That's sick. Yeah, the Tigard. Tigard. Because they split them up into like this ultralight version and then a more beefy version, I think, the Hojis. Then no, do they still just offer the Hojis? I guess? Huh. Those are cool. Those are cool. I like those. That's a good idea. These are still wild. The DNAs. The Radical's a good idea, and the Speed is an even better idea. I like that a lot. This looks cool. These are futurely looking. How stiff they are. Probably not that stiff. 101 last, so they're just comfy. I wonder if they're like actually fine. Huh. Yeah, these are hot. These are cool looking boots. These are really nice looking. But a 1550 gram boot is not gonna feel like a 130. It's gonna feel soft just because it's light. Interesting. I haven't looked at these in a while. I'm gonna go take a quick pee break, and then I will think of some game to play for the last little bit. Because I don't really want to just sit here and do nothing for the rest of the stream. I kind of do. I might just end it, actually. How long are we going for? 2 hours? I clocked in. I put my time in. I'm good. I'm alright with it. I got laundry to finish. I think I'll head out. It's not like anyone was active today anyway. I just want to convince Twitch that I'm actually doing something on their platform, so they give me the bubble things, the channel points, so that I can make fun interactables. Very swag. Can't get enough. Bye. Goodbye, internet. Goodbye. Wait, I'm gonna go onto my own stream on Twitch because I want to use the some of the sound alerts I added because they're funny. Let's see where are we at. Good classic. Very nice. Very good. Big fan of that one. You can also do TTS. They're all in the About section. Another hood classic. That's a classic. A lot of these are soundboard pictures, soundboards in my server as well. The 5G.
The 5G is microwaving my organs, and I'm loving it.
That's fucking right. We love the 5G here. Yeah. I think it's about time for me to get off the computer for the night. I'm gonna make goodbye now. Bye. Goodbye, internet. Bye. Bye.